On this week's Rebel Reports, the Runnin Rebels faced a tough battle in the MAC against one of the most talented teams in the nation and sent the game to overtime. One of the top boxers in the world, Las Vegas resident, Showtime, Shawn Porter, stops by the studio to talk about his unique training habits. And Las Vegas native Busch continues to stand with Vegas Strong and what he's doing to raise money for the victims of 1 October. The Rebel Report starts right now.
Welcome to our second to last episode of the Rebel Report for 2017. I'm Diana Zainuddin.
And I'm Alex Wong. Also on this episode, we take a look at one of the worst, yet one of the most common injuries for female athletes, plus feature one of UNLV's football's fastest players.
We begin with the Runnin Rebels, who took on its toughest competition of the season in a heated game full of twists and turns.
Reporters Lupita Negrete and Kaylee Woods broke down this long-awaited matchup against Arizona Wildcats on December 2nd.
Game night here at the Thomas and Mack, where the Runnin Rebels took on the Arizona Wildcats in the most anticipated game of the 2017 season.
Yeah, and you could tell because the Thomas and Mack got packed and there were so many fans, the energy was so high, and we kind of got a glimpse of what it must have been like back in the glory days.
Thousands of fans gathered at the Thomas and Mack to watch the Runnin Rebels face off against preseason top 10 team Arizona in one of the biggest thrillers of the season. UNLV, coming off of their 6-1 record, started strong in the first half, holding off Arizona's offensive efforts. And by halftime, the Rebels established a decent lead, with Arizona trailing by 13 points. In the second half, the Runnin Rebels fought hard against a rejuvenated Wildcat offense, with freshman forward Brandon McCoy and junior forward Shakir Justin duking it out against Arizona's star players Alonzo Trier and DeAndre Ayton. The game was neck and neck with 8 lead changes in the second half alone. Freshman forward Brandon McCoy recorded his 6th double-double of the season, earning a career high of 33 points and 10 rebounds. But a missed free throw opportunity by senior guard Javon Mooring left the score tied 78-78 by the end of regulation. Going into overtime, the crowd at the Thomas and Mack erupted as the tension rose between the two teams. But in the end, UNLV suffered another heartbreaking loss following a missed free throw by freshman forward Tervel Beck with only a few seconds left on the clock. Brandon McCoy, disappointed in the loss, was still proud of his teammates for putting up a good fight.
We just lost it. We came in the game just trying to win and just playing our hearts out. We just came up short, but I commend every one of my brothers because we played our hearts out. Nobody else, you can say that nobody on the team had energy left. So we gave it all, but we just came out short.
And head coach Marvin Menzies hopes the team will use this as a learning opportunity for future games.
We've got to tighten up some things. We've got to keep growing, keep getting better. And we will win going forward.
With back-to-back losses looming over them, the Runnin Rebels will attempt to recover in their next few home games of the season. And one thing's for sure, Runnin Rebels basketball fans will be right there to cheer them on to victory. For Rebel Report, I'm Kaylee Woods.
And even though the game did not end the way the Rebels wanted, the amount of support given by the crowd made the loss a little easier to swallow. Over 14,000 fans packed the Thomas and Mack for this intense matchup, breaking records for the largest attendance of the season so far.
Now we move to UNLV Football, and even though the season ended on a sour note, there were many bright spots from this year's 5-7 squad. Casey Carpenter spent some time with Rebel star running back Lexington Thomas, who hit a major milestone this season. He joins us now in the studio to explain.
The junior running back was pushed into a featured role this season after an injury to fellow running back Charles Williams, and he made the most of it, becoming the Rebels' first 1,000-yard rusher since 2013.
Lexington Thomas was born in Houston and earned all-district honors his senior year in football and ran track for Benjamin Davis High in Aldine, Texas. Lightning struck UNLV in 2015, coming off the bench and earning top freshman runner honors in the conference. In 2016, he followed up with career-high yardage in only 10 games and led the squad with 8 rushing touchdowns. Lex isn't so caught up in achieving the honors on the field as much as he is about winning.
Lexington Thomas showing his...
This helped me get the ultimate goal. I'm trying to help the team win. Getting the accolades and stuff, that's cool. It's a lot of personal stuff, but I'd rather get the wins than accolades. I think it's very positive because if I'm setting records and breaking records, I mean I'm helping the team. I'm doing everything I can to help the team win. So I would say it's pretty positive to me.
This season, he leads the team with 17 TDs. He broke the 1,000-yard rushing mark in the Island Showdown against Hawaii, helping the Rebels win the Golden Pineapple. That put him and the Rebels in the record books, and Lex doesn't forget who helps him get there.
We got a great offensive line. Without them, y'all probably wouldn't be talking to me right now. They're a great group of guys who coached up real great.
Lex has scored at least once on the ground in every game but 2 this season. The junior quickly moved up to 6th on UNLV's all-time rushing list with over 2,200 yards, and he has a lot of fun competing with teammates.
We had a couple things going on in the off season, if whoever scored the most in the practice or scrimmage, they can tell whoever had to do a certain amount of push-ups or sit-ups or whatever. We're a pretty competitive group.
Does Lexington lose much to this competitive group?
Yeah, I don't want to be doing too many push-ups. X crazy.
Lexington and his team are focused and not distracted by the possibility of a bowl game this season.
It's not in the back of nobody's mind right now. We all know that we have to win these games to get what we need to get, and I think everybody got the right mindset right now, and that's what we're going to try to do.
It was Tim Cornette that was the last 1,000-yard rusher before Lex did it this year. Thomas was also one of 45 players named to the watch list for Earl Campbell Tyler Rose Award. That's given to the nation's top college football offensive players from Texas. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Casey. Lexington was also voted to the first team in the All-Mountain West Conference with over 1,300 yards his junior season. He's tied for 3rd on UNLV's single-season rushing yards list. NASCAR Champions Week returned to Las Vegas recently, where the sport's top drivers come to town to celebrate the season that was and also look ahead to the new year. It was during Champions Week that the new race coming to Las Vegas got a name. In spring, NASCAR announced Vegas will be home to a second triple-header race weekend in September. On November 30th, officials from NASCAR and the Las Vegas Motor Speedway gathered at the South Point Hotel and Casino to announce the name of the second Monster Energy Cup race. No surprise, the official name is the South Point 400. This is not the casino's first tie-in with the automotive sport. Brendan Gaughan, a Vegas local, NASCAR driver and son of South Point's owner Michael Gaughan, was sponsored for many years by his family's resort and drove the South Point car. The casino's general manager made the special announcement and is excited for locals and race fans from out of town.
He knows the value of
events that the town can be proud of, and I think they're going to have the South Point 400 name on a race, a brand new race. And what we didn't mention today, what I wish we would have, it's the first race for the Chase. So for the tournament qualifying portion of the end of the season, this is the first one. So it will be a race that's talked about all year long, and I'm hoping that Las Vegas always got behind Brendan Gaughan when he was in the South Point car. I hope they get behind this race and be just as proud as they are of the race as they were of Brendan racing.
The racers stay. The race teams come to stay with us, as many as we can fit. The NASCAR officials stay with us. Everybody knows this is where you're supposed to be for racing. Having the South Point 400 at, I'm biased, the greatest racetrack in NASCAR is to me the perfect fit.
Now Vegas can still be pretty steamy in September. Ryan Growney said that they have some special amenities planned, including possible night races to keep guests cool. And Brendan said if drivers want to complain about the weather in a race, then, quote, take a hike.
All right, our first show of the season was all about the sports community coming together after the biggest shooting in modern American history. Although our Rebel Report season is coming to an end, the Vegas Strong spirit is still going strong. I had the great opportunity to attend a benefit event put on Vegas local Kurt Busch. It's a Giving Tuesday in Las Vegas, and the local sports community is still going Vegas strong. NASCAR champion Kurt Busch is here at Pole Position Raceway in a car that's not quite his speed. Kurt Busch is the definition of Vegas strong. On a Giving Tuesday, the Las Vegas native and his wife Ashley dedicated their time and efforts to raise money for the Las Vegas Victims Fund. The charity event, put on by Kurt Busch, was in partnership with DriversForVegas.com and Zappos.
It was great. Just everybody to come out. A lot of fans from social media got the notice and came out to support us at Pole Position Raceway. And I mean, just the crowd, the energy and the fun out on the track. And we had a bunch of silent auction items that went really well. So whatever we made tonight, I'm going to double it because I know at the end for DriversVegas.com, DriversForVegas.com, Zappos.com is going to double up our money at the end. So it was a great night. I was very happy.
On October 1st, Kurt was just coming home from racing the Monster Energy Cup Series when his phone was blowing up about the tragedy. And immediately, he started thinking about what he could do to help.
I think it was shortly after that. Kurt's always thinking about ideas and how he can help his community. And just after we heard about that, it was so devastating. And he just wanted to do something special, and obviously it's something that he can be a part of and race in, and people can have fun with him.
Kurt mentioned that Las Vegas is such a transient city that when a tragedy like this happens, it brings people together from all around the world.
And everybody, it was just, their hearts were pierced on what had happened right here in our hometown. And so all the drivers in the NASCAR community got together, and we've been raising funds and awareness and trying to help our first responders and all the brothers and sisters that we lost.
And although this charity was put together because of a tragic event, Kurt made sure that this night was a night of uplifting spirits for the community and for the kids.
Well, while they decided to play on the big boy track, I decided to drive something a little more my speed in this little arcade. But don't worry, all the money's going to a good cause. For the Rebel Report, I'm Alex Wong.
Kurt Busch was also in town for NASCAR Champions Week, and being that he is Vegas, Vegas is his home, NASCAR made an announcement that will make him probably very proud and feel the Vegas spirit. All right, hey baseball fans, we have a baseball stadium that will soon be under construction on the west side of Las Vegas to help the longest tenured pro team in Las Vegas.
Reagan Weber is at the grounds of what will eventually become the home of the Las Vegas 51s.
Where a new baseball complex is underway. It should be for another AAA team, but it's going to be open air and hold 10,000 seats.
$150 million will be spent on this new stadium. The Howard Hughes Corporation dedicated 8 acres of land for the new field right next to the Golden Knights practice facility. It will be named the Las Vegas Ballpark and shouldn't take more than a year to finish building. The staff from Cashman Center are also moving to the new ballpark and look forward to its completion.
Bottom line is the fans of Southern Nevada deserve a new ballpark for the bottom line is they've supported us for 35 years. We've had 300,000 plus attendance seasons at home for 35 years. Heck, the fans deserve a new state-of-the-art facility with all the fan amenities and the kid zones. We're going to have a swimming pool in center field. I mean, obviously, will be nice to have the suites, but there'll be picnic areas, and so this will be a nice place to go watch the game.
The New York Mets will cut ties with the 51s after the 2018 season.
We'll have the player indoor hitting tunnels, cages and stuff, which is very important when you get into the summer months here where it's so hot. Our guys really can't take BP for long as 10-15 minutes at a crack when it's, because we hit at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on July and August, and it's tough, it's rough. So, with those new player amenities, training facilities, and we're AAA. The 2015 Mets went to the World Series and half the roster played here at one point. So it's very important to develop players, and player development has not been inhibited here. We've done a great job.
Judging on all this wind, it will probably be a hitter's park. For the Rebel Report, I'm Reagan Weber.
The Dodgers and Blue Jays had affiliates here at one point.
Towards the end of the 2018 season, we should know who the 51s will be the farm team for.
All right, when talking about sports, it is important to remember the struggles athletes go through in order to perform and be at their full health.
Injuries are just as much a part of athletics as wins or losses, and can even be the most rewarding triumph when recovery is the goal. Lindsay Diwali has a story of a huge injury within the world of sports. Lindsay?
Hey guys, so I played soccer here at UNLV, and I could tell you this injury is so common. There's probably like 2 girls to 3 every season that have it. So, anterior cruciate ligament tear, more commonly known as an ACL tear, and in the world of women's soccer, possibly the most feared injury. Yes, though ACL tears occur for many athletes in many sports such as soccer, football, and basketball, it is most common in soccer. And compared to men, a women's soccer player has 3 times more of a chance to be hit by this non-contact injury. It is no secret that this is a common injury when huge players such as Alex Morgan, Megan Rapone, and Brandi Chastain have all had this injury. In relation to UNLV, we each year have players that must deal and recover from the same injury. Most recent, the UNLV women's soccer team had redshirt sophomore forward Michaela Morris crushed by this ACL tear.
So I was sprinting in the Utah State game towards a defender, and she was passing the ball wide, so I cut right when I cut, I planted, and I felt a big pop in my knee. It hurt at first, but I started crying pretty hard just because I knew that something tore, just from the feeling of it.
This is the first time Morris has torn her ACL. Her athletic trainer, Matt Schaefer, explains the mechanics of this injury to us.
An ACL tear is traditionally with a planting of the foot and then a sharp twist of the upper body or above the knee. This causes a shear force, which will literally have the top of the tibia and the femur like just shearing off the ACL. Well, if any female athlete, there's the Q angle, which is the angle from the hips to the knees when compared to perpendicular from the ground. And having a larger Q angle increases the likelihood of an ACL tear. But then also with women's soccer, you have a lot of the cutting and juking that are usually the causes for an ACL tear.
Prevention, of course, is the key to avoiding this injury, but a lot of the time it is out of the athlete's control. So now we take a look at the recovery side of things.
The 2 most important things are range of motion and strength. Those are the things that we need to get back to normal or as close to normal as we can before we can do surgery. And then those are the first things that we have to do after surgery to get back before we can start doing any sort of agility and more sport-specific rehabilitation. So in a patient, the most important things is really keeping a positive outlook, being very patient about it because it is a long process, and then of course being committed to your rehab, doing it and being consistent with it. Having those 3 qualities really helps further and quicken the healing process.
It is a complicated injury that takes an average of 9 months to recover from, but players are more than able to come back healthier and better than ever with the right steps and attitude.
2 more years of playing, and having a positive attitude will help me to come back stronger and be there for my team. And I'm going to try out for the Filipino national team because I know the coach, and he said I have a spot when I come back, so definitely keeping me positive.
The Rebel Report wished Michaela a healthy and speedy recovery. She clearly has a lot to look forward to in her soccer career. So you guys have any questions after that, or what are your thoughts?
I never noticed that it was more like prone to female athletes, because I was a cheerleader and a lot of girls did have it. And I know you're a dancer, and like he said in the video, it's from planting your foot and doing sharp turns. I mean,
yeah, it's non-contact, so you don't get it. So someone getting hit doesn't exactly give it to you. It's just a certain way you move. And girls we get bigger thighs. That's kind of pretty much like the dumbed down version of why it happens, but
more force.
Yeah, but Michaela's a great person, and I really wish her a good recovery.
Cool, we do
Unfortunately, yeah, it is very common, but like we said, they just come out stronger. Thanks, Lindsay. Now it's time for our Rebel Report timeout. Fighting out of Las Vegas, we have our former 147-pound world champion in the studio.
That's right. Summer's joined by a very special guest. Summer.
Rebel Report timeout.
Thank you guys. Welcome to this week's Rebel Report Timeout. We have 28-2 and now WBC welterweight silver champion and #1 contender in the world, Showtime Shawn Porter. Shawn, thank you. Thank you. So just to start it off, what made you get into boxing?
My dad. My dad made me get into boxing. He didn't really make me get into boxing, but it was something he did when I was young, about 3 or 4 years old. I would go to the gym with him. And I don't know, he looked over at myself and my brothers, and I don't know if us sitting down was a problem, but he literally said to us, the #1 rule when you come here now is not to sit down. So when I was about 4 years old, he got us up in the mirror, started showing us our basics, and that was at age of 4, and I haven't stopped since.
And so would you say your relationship with your father in and out of the ring?
We've always been close. I think anyone who is involved in sports understands that you need to have a close relationship, a close bond with your coach and the rest of your staff, you know, that is proven to lead to success. And the same thing with him and I. You know, I think the only difference is this sport is one-on-one, and unlike most athletes, I go home with my dad at the end of the day.
And so what would you say is your process like leading up for like training camp and getting ready for a big fight?
It's always it's lock and load, you know. My dad and my other coach, Larry Wade, who you know, they stay on me. They make sure that, you know, I'm getting everything that I need, you know, the rest, the food intake, the training sessions, the whole nine. And which makes it even better for me is that I'm really close with Wade as well, but my dad is right there with me, so he can see everything the whole way, you know. So that's how our operation works.
And so how is it like to have your father and then known Larry Wade, who's very intense, and you know, I've seen you a couple times on the track running those hard workouts, so what is it like?
I'll tell you what, anybody that knows Larry Wade, I'll give you just a quick spill. Like, you know Wade. Wade is very demanding. He reaches for perfection all day, every day, and he's always gassed to 100 miles per hour, you know. And the same thing with my dad. So the even funnier thing about that is, I swear to God, I woke up yesterday, I was like, I think Wade is changing. He's becoming more like my dad, you know. So it's hard work, you know, when you have someone like Larry Wade and also someone like Kenny Porter, my dad, who are two people who always strive for perfection, who always demand the best of the best at all times. They have a very high level of expectation for me, and I do my best to reach it every day.
So what would you say, you know, being in boxing, your diet is key. So what would you say is your get right meal and your splurge?
Oh goodness. Honestly, I'll be honest with you. We opened up a Papa John's like a mile away from us, so that's been like the daily for me has been Papa John's. Don't tell Wade. I hope he doesn't see this. And when it's time to get right, nothing. Nothing for about 2 or 3 days. Honestly, it is. It's more so just water intake, flushing my body out, and then I start back with, you know, a good nutritional plan, fruits, vegetables, you know, tuna, fish, basic foods, but stuff that's going to give me energy and also help me lose weight at the same time.
And then going forward, you know, in 2013, you became the IBF World Champion versus Devin Alexander, and then you defended your title against Paulie Malignaggi. You know, what was the feeling when you heard "and the new"?
I knew it was coming. And the new is something you always see on TV. A lot of guys who want to be champion, you always hear them screaming "and the new." It was nothing I ever like kind of bought into. I never, you know, was moving around saying I'm gonna be the new and the new, but at the end of that fight in 2013, I knew that I had won the fight, and I couldn't wait to hear those words. Those words are very special, and I understand why a future champion would say those words. It is special to hear.
And so now going forward, what is expected in now 2018? You know, with Keith Thurman on, you know, as a hot topic, as you did face him in 2016, and many thought you won, but what are your thoughts coming into 2018?
I fought a title eliminator in April against Andre Berto. I won that fight. That made me the mandatory to fight Keith Thurman. Then Keith Thurman had an injury and he wasn't able to fight, so the WBC wanted me to fight for their silver title about a month ago now. I think I fought November 5th was that fight date. And I won that fight in good fashion as well, unanimous decision. So now we are looking to fight no one but Keith Thurman in 2018. We fought 2 fights to fight him, and now we're not looking anywhere else but Keith Thurman. So we'll wait for him to get ready for us, and hopefully we have that fight springtime, summer.
All right, well, thank you for taking your time out with us.
Good to see you.
We appreciate it.
You got it.
And now let's send it over to the panel discussion.
Thanks, Summer, for that knockout of an interview. All right, we've got a lot of drama going on in sports. So for this week's panel discussion, we have Ariel, Arlinda, and Michaela. And we've got some international news. So Ariel, what's going on with Russia? Why can't they sit with us?
All right, so basically, the International Olympic Committee has suspended or banned Russia from going to the Winter 2018 Olympics. Apparently, the international committee found out that the Russian committee helped the athletes pass the anti-doping test. What this means is they cannot compete in the games, and government officials are forbidden to attend. They will also not have the flag displayed during the ceremony, and the anthem will not be sound. They can compete as neutral athletes, but they cannot have their uniform or even say they're from Russia. They're going to have to use an acronym.
What was the main reason? Was it blood doping? Was that the main reason behind it?
No, apparently they helped the athletes with when they were submitting their samples, they were replacing them for other samples, urine samples. So it was a very pricey investigation, and eventually they're going to have to pay back that money.
Cool. So moving on a little bit closer to home, the Kardashians of the NBA, LeVar Ball is in the headlines again. So Michaela, what's he doing?
So, you know, keeping up with the Balls, his son, LiAngelo, who just got suspended from UCLA due to what happened in China, but now the father and the father states that this is like a family decision, that LiAngelo and his younger brother LaMelo will have an opportunity to play overseas. So they're just, you know, LeVar is just being the parent who's very like controlling of his kids and wanting for them to have like a better career outside of the United States.
Because they do so well outside of the United States. Yeah, they don't get in any trouble.
No,
that's great. Well, another troublemaker, Arlinda. What's up with Kaepernick?
So Kaepernick recently just won the Sports Illustrated Muhammad Ali Award. Well, he got honored. Surprise guest Beyonce Knowles came out and gave it to him. If you don't know, well, everyone should know about Kaepernick and his big activism stand he took last year with taking a kneel. So he won the award for that, and the Muhammad Ali Award was basically something for sports people who use their platform, and even though some may contradict and say he doesn't have a platform anymore because he doesn't play, he uses his platform to take a stand against basically racial inequality and police brutality.
So a lot of people were saying that they feel like J.J. Watt was more deserving because he raised all that money for Hurricane Harvey. Do you think that that's like a valuable point?
I don't think it's a valuable point. I believe that Kaepernick just got more publicity, more, not shine, but he just, because it's such an issue that people were talking about, controversy, that more people were prone to it than hurricanes. Sad to say they happen and money will always get raised for it, but how much awareness is brought towards something such as police brutality.
All right, well, thank you guys. That was our quick little panel discussion this week, and now we're going to go ahead and send it back over to the desk.
Thanks, Haley. Today's Show Me Your Skills has Casey back out at the Rebel practice field.
Looks like we're going to see some offensive skills today.
Show me your skills.
So today on Show Me Your Skills, we have number 62 on the Rebels offensive line, a junior coming from Honolulu.
This is Nate Oishi with the offensive line, and he's going to show us some skills today.
On run blocking, I'll get in about a shoulder width stance, 3-point stance. And on hike, I'll take a 6-inch step, another 6-inch step, strike with my arms and pump my feet to drive the defensive lineman back.
How about passing?
I guess on pass block, if the quarterback's behind me and this is the defensive lineman, I'll go about 45 degrees back, wait for him to get near me, strike him, and then try to stay square on him.
Nate's in his 3rd year with the Rebels and is adding depth to the offensive line. His thoughts on strength and technique are sound.
Definitely legs, hips for explosion, bench for to get distance on the defensive lineman, to get them off of you. Technique is what's basically separates everyone at this level. Technique is very important.
So that's it for our sneak peek at the offensive line.
Thanks, Nate. Appreciate the look on Show Us Your Skills.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Casey. We look forward to seeing Nate next season playing for the Rebels on the O-line.
Well, that is it for this week's edition of the Rebel Report. One more show to go in 2017, and I must say it is a bittersweet moment. This semester is unfortunately coming to an end.
All right, guys, make sure to stay up to date with our social media at Rebel Report UNLV on Facebook and Twitter, and Rebel Report _UNLV on Instagram. Bye.
Bye.